Greetings, welcome to Channel 6. I'm your host, and this is another episode of hiking out in the woods. I've got my wired mic. I need to put the rig on now. The camera's already in the rig, I just need to attach it. And my glasses have to go somewhere. Filming is a little interesting on the hiking because you can't just walk off and boopity boop and you're out there. You actually got to set all this up, and I have a mic I put under my shirt so the wire has less tendency to get caught up in stuff, and I'm trying to be mindful of the camera eye so I don't block it too often. Oh, something happened to my hickey. I'll be ready in a second. I had a way to do this that was pretty neat, and it's changed itself somewhat. I should come up with like a mounting system like I have in the studio, just get another one. But I'm thinking about getting a different phone and using both these old things for, they're a couple years old, just get a new phone and use them both for filming. Okay, we're ready to go. I'm going to check live film status. We're filming. My mic is plugged in. I hope it sounds clear. I got to get my picking bag. I'm not picking anything today, but I got my tools and stuff in it. My stick, and we're off. We're off to the berry patch. I think we'll go down this way today. I know it's like, I've watched some, and it's really bouncy. So what I want to periodically do is stop and just look so you can get an idea of what it's like in various areas that I get to see. Because I walk by, I can see it clearly. But I know when I'm moving, the camera doesn't even always properly store the scene. It's kind of blurry or edgy. And to me, it just looks nice. My rendering is a lot nicer than this camera's rendering while I'm hiking, is what I'm saying. I'm out in my beautiful wooded area provided by the Lord. I know some of you might not understand that. That's okay. I understand it. I'm the one making the video. It's so beautiful here. I got a berry patch over there. I'm actually going to go check in on this berry patch. I got to find out where the ripe berries are coming in. And so far they're getting big. They're big berries. New stuff's coming up. These are the new ones right here. These are the old ones are purple, and the new ones have this whitish green tint. Except for the old blonde raspberries don't have the purple. They just have like a yellowy green. Might be slightly challenging to pick because I've got to get in here without stomping the new stuff. Patch maintenance today. I've got some wild rose bush and some blackberry. You don't really want blackberry in your raspberry bushes because it's really hard to pick through, and it won't necessarily get berries on it. So there's no like double picking area, because the blackberry, basically you start over here to my right and go all the way over. Blackberry covers this hillside. There's blackberry everywhere. And the deer have already stomped down. Oh, that's not a raspberry bush. There's something that looks like a young raspberry, but it's not. And I always see one and think, oh, that got stomped down, but it's not raspberry. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's not raspberry. Cool. It's a good deal. This is another one of my little seats that's been provided here. A tree grew that way. It's still alive. Its leaves are up there. And I occasionally come down here. It's one of my meditation spots. I occasionally come down here. I hadn't really decided how I'm getting over to this, but I filmed going out the low path a couple times, so I think I'll go the other way. I think I hear a deer. Let's see if we can get a look at him. I've got my mic on my shirt lapel and it always points the wrong way. Let me see if I can adjust it. Put my I'll try to keep out of the can. You can look at the beautiful scenery. Look this way. No matter what I do, this mic just, the lapel on my shirt flops it over. It's pointed at my back now. I had an idea. What if I put it on the camera rig? Now it's right below my mouth, so you should have pretty clear audio. Cool. Solving problems every day. I try to come up with one thing every day at least. Some days there's a lot. Oh, let's go up this way and go past this patch too. I got out of the path area. Okay. There's a patch that grows up here. And I'm periodically just going to nip things out of my patches. There's wild grapevine trying to get off. This patch wasn't around 4 or 5 years ago. It grew up. And it's getting kind of sizable. I'm just looking. I don't know, hopefully you can see all the green berries. There's lots of bunches. This will be a decent picking area. It's a small picking area so far. But there's a lot here to pick. There's a lot here to pick, and I already had a path cleared and it got clobbered. Things change out here kind of with nature sort of on their own. They change of their own accord, in accordance, as it were. See, the thing is, there's so many blackberry bushes. I don't really worry about, or consider rather, because I don't worry. I don't consider the blackberries because they grow everywhere. Oh, wow. Like this, what we can see right here is all blackberries. You can't even get into it. This whole thing is blackberries. And it's about 20 times the size of this raspberry patch. There's so many blackberries out this year, I'll just be able to walk around and pick them. I don't think I'll even have to look. I think they're all going to survive. Because in past years, my issue has been I worked at the theater. In July we did 2 musicals, and it's basically just a month, almost a month at the theater. I'll still be berry picking at the end of June, the beginning of July, and the theater starts up around July 10th. The raspberries are usually done by then, and this is pokeweed. They use the leaves for salad, and the berries I think you can make something, but the stalks and the roots are poisonous to eat. So don't ever eat pokeweed. Don't take a chance unless you really know what you're doing with something in the woods. But due to the theater schedule taking up a good chunk of time, I don't know how this got down in here. I don't really have more than a couple of 2-hour, 3-hour sessions to come out and look for blackberries. And if they're not right where I've been, I can't find them. This is the interesting part of the trail. See, this is just blackberry land right here. All the way up the hill. All the way across. There's huge swaths of it. And the raspberries grow in these little pockets. These cool little pockets. This is raspberry right here. This is actually raspberry. That's the blackberry over there. Blackberry grows like weeds. You can trim one of these new stalks down, and in a couple of months it'll be double. It'll be back in 3 weeks. You bump a new raspberry here, it's done. It gets bruised and it stops. So whenever I'm picking, I always try to be careful. Even as I walk, I gotta hunker under some of this. Even as I walk, I try not to step on. This is really cool looking here. I want to get this. It's like a little brush tunnel under whatever this stuff is. I haven't figured out what this one tree is. Really a big bush. And I'm not even at my destination and I've already got to pause and make a hair adjustment. It's sort of warmer today. I think the high is going to be 93. So I'm thinking maybe an hour out here. I got this one section of patch that's gotten kind of gnarly with wild rosebush. I want to see if I can do anything with that. This is the wild rosebush. This isn't the one I'm dealing with. This is wild rosebush though. It gets these little white flowers that look very similar to blackberry flowers. Or as I call it sometimes, living barbed wire. Because it's tough, nasty stuff. I've got my bottle of honey. The grass that clogs up my throat and sinuses is sending out pollen right now. Sometimes you'll bump a big bunch of it and you'll just see a dust cloud go up. And just talking about it, my nose is like, hey, I hear that, I'm ready to sneeze. Calm down, nose, we just started. No concerns or considerations for that yet. Let's swing back around. There's actually a little open area, and I don't know why it stayed this way for 5 years. Maybe there's something about the ground here. There's actually raspberry right over here. Little pieces grow all over, but you got to be able to pick the big patches when it peaks. If you're going around to these little bits, you don't get to pick a lot. But this area stays reasonably clear. And it's a really nice area. Okay, we have an issue here. I have a trip hazard I'm going to take care of down here. Occasionally vines shift around and they can throw you down on the ground if they catch your foot hard enough. This area is a little different than it was in past years. The trail was on the other side of this tree, this locust tree here, and the vines in the undergrowth clobbered it, and the deer went this way, so I just followed them. There was a time when I wanted to completely preserve my trails. I wanted them to stay exactly as they were. But I kind of gave up on that idea. This is living barbed wire right here. It's the wild rose bush. It's all over. I kind of went with the wisdom of going which way the deer decide to go, because they're going to do it anyways. And then I don't have to maintain a separate trail. Because they'll kind of keep the trails throughout the winter and the less growing parts of the year. They'll keep the trails clear themselves. So why not take advantage of that? They're kind of like my wild helpers. Going up this way, I call that the first path. That's the first path I made. And it was actually much more clear when I first made it. But the deer use it. And going up this way is the second path. Going back that way, they actually overlap for a little ways. We're going out the second path because that's where the berry patches are. I had a bite of wisdom last hike 2 days ago. I have a couple of these buckets that I stashed near my berry patches to sit on. And I have a bag like this that I put my berry buckets I pick. And the thing about the bag is the buckets can get squished or squash open. And I was thinking, instead of taking the bag's convenient to carry, but on the way back, it's going to be bulging, it's going to be open with like 8 containers or 10 containers. It's bulged out like this. And I was thinking if I took a bucket, the containers would be safer in a bucket. And I could sit down anytime I wanted in any patch. It's just that I've got the lesser convenience of carrying a bucket on the way out. I like this little area here too. The deer have a trail going up that way that I don't have cleared for me. There's some birds calling out. Yeah, the microphone mostly stays pointed at my... I'm gonna fiddle with it. It mostly stays pointed at my face area. So I thought if I have to carry the bucket all the way. Oh, well, I slipped on something on the ground and a bird took off. I guess I surprised it when I hiked past it. I do that sometimes. I can move pretty quietly when I want to. And I've actually gotten close to deer and things like that just because they didn't know I was there and I didn't know they were there. Like 4 or 5 feet away from me, a deer will take off from behind one of these pieces of brush. And it's like, wow, I didn't even know you were there. So for the inconvenience of carrying a bucket all the way, I'll have a seat and I'll have a stronger container for my berry containers. And I'll show you what those are when I'm picking. There's another little patch down this trail, down this way, but I looked in on it 2 days ago. One of these patches will have red berries within a week, I think. They won't be ripe yet, they won't be edible. I was thinking the 15th. What's today, the 8th, the 9th? Yeah, there might be some edible by the 15th. I think I'll be picking on the 17th, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how its schedule works out. I expect it'll work out really well. I still want to get some things situated in my studio and get some of the stuff. I'm moving around some of the setup. I want to change a flat panel monitor. Now that my Linux system, my main business system, I shut my business down last year. Oh, here's puffy time. I wonder if we can see it. No. There's one of them, you bump it and a cloud comes up. You might not see that on camera anyways. But now that I'm streaming all the time, I don't use my business system. I shut my business down. I'm not using it as much. It's just my entertainment at lunch. Oh, I saw that puff right by my face. And I have 3 panels on, and one of them I'm not using much to save the power because it's an older one. And it's a 24-inch wide. I think it's 1600 by 1200 res. And I'm using an old 19-inch panel for my status panel that's only does like 1280 by 1024, and I think I'm going to swap them out. And if it works out well, when I got some of this sweet stream Lucre, I'll get like a 27-inch. Because if I go portrait mode with the wide panels, they're the same width, about 17 inches as the 19-inch in landscape mode. And that'll get me the screen space I need, because it's a clutter, that panel. And a couple days ago I had MooBot lost. The MooBot app is where I give chat commands and watch the chat. It lost its chat. It got pulled out and I couldn't find it. It's down here. This is a big old glob of blackberry that wasn't here 3 or 4 years ago. When I first started coming down this way, there was a lot of pokeweed. It was clear of this. And the pokeweed will come back up. Everything grows back up. It occasionally dies down. What I was planning on doing, this is the work area. What I was planning on doing was hanging the camera somewhere so you can watch me. So I'm actually going to have to take the rig off and see where I can put it. Probably in this blackberry, because this is my patch down here, and actually I don't know what side I can get in. I don't think I can get in right here. Let's go take a look at the... We're going to do some reconnoiter. Yes, I'm legitimately using that word in a real life scenario. That I actually mean reconnoiter. I'm going to go reconnoiter a berry patch. It amazes me, this is elderberry. It amazes me how this stuff shifts around. The only thing is, the way I'm getting in, I might not have somewhere to put the camera that can view the whole scene. But we'll see how that goes. And I'm going to disconnect the mic because it's wired. You'll have nature cam no matter where I go. I'm making a new path area here because berries are expanding. I think down here maybe. This right here, this is the pokeweed. And there are people that collect the leaves. I wouldn't recommend this for salads. And the berries, can you make tea out of them? Because the roots in these stalks have some kind of poison. And probably not killing you poison, but certainly making you sick. So that's something to consider. This is the berry patch right here. And I don't really know quite how I'm going to do this. So we're going to take a little break here. And I wanted to get my seat and take it back with me and carry it back and forth so I'm not leaving a lunk of plastic out in the environment. It's all the way back there. I think we're going to do it this way while I ponder the situation. I'm going to go back and get the seat, but I'm going to set the nature cam up. And what I came up with was just taking this rig off. Oh, I got to keep the mic. The mic stays with me. My mic is mine because I don't feel like ungigging it from my shirt. So I'm going to give you guys a nature cam here while I go and get this. Mic's going away. It's still on. Cool. Okay, let me see where I can set up your nature cam. I basically want to keep the camera in the rig. It's going to jerk around a bit. Let me see what I can come up with. It's probably going to be a little wavy. Oh, we're losing things that are important to us, like parts of our rig. Uh-oh. The underbrush got my... How did you do that? Oh, it's caught in the stuff that makes my life challenging out here, the briars. Briars are challenging. If you ever go berry picking or hiking and you have to deal with them, they're a little bit of a trial. Oh, I lost my... I see. I'm doing this and I lost my thing. I got strings flopping all over the place because I got a certain way I do this camera mount and I want to keep it that way, and it came loose. Well, you know what? While I'm out here, let's just ungig that whole thing and keep it separate. There we go. Let me see what I can do here and I'll put that away. You know, it'd be easy. Oh, I can't. Yeah, that's one thing about the native cameras. You can't just switch it around from its view. And I kind of want it to be up higher. I'm working on a backwoods MacGyver, and I know it's flopping all over the place while I'm trying to do this. No, that's not going to work. You know what? Okay, let me grab it solid. The best thing I have to put it on is actually my own walking stick. I just realized. Because it's actually up high enough if it stays stable. Oh, it's got me. I've got to get some of my honey. Okay, I got to stabilize the walking stick first. Nope. I'm trying to do a particular thing here. Okay, there we go. Let's see what you got for a nature cam. Get this out of the way. Oh, wow, this stuff knows how to find the camera. Okay, there we are. It's a little wobbly if the wind blows it. That's pointing at the patch. I think that's pretty good. I don't know how that happened. Okay, good. It's recording. Let me stabilize it. This is your nature cam in my work area. I'll be in and out of view. I'm going to go get my bucket and take a break here, so I have something to sit on. Set my rig up where the nature won't disappear it on me. Things can disappear so quickly out here. Oh yeah, the mic's not plugged in. Note to self, you unplug the mic, talk louder. But first I need some honey, because my throat's globbed up. This is my honey for the trail. It's actually a different honey now. I poured some other stuff in there because it was almost empty. Additional note to self, buy more honey. Buy another big bottle. Maybe the Psalm 119 honey. I'll have to show you that sometime. It's pretty cool. I saw this, I'm like, oh, I have to get this. Okay. Tea and honey. Life is good in the land of tea and honey. Alright, I'm going to hike over here and go retrieve my bucket. No, I'm taking it. Oh. Somehow, my mic always interfaces with this tea thing. I don't know how that happens. Alright. Put my mic back. Yeah, I've got to re-gig my mic thing. I wonder if I could put it down in there and have it point at my mouth. I'll be back. And I see that the camera is still why is the camera wobbling? I'm getting assaulted by dead sticks. I had this stabilized and it's wobble city again. If I tilt the stick back, it should rest against the stick, but it's got... I kind of want you pointed that way. I have no way of leveling it or anything. I just want it reasonably stable so you're not constantly wobbling the whole time. Alright, I got my seat that I'm going to take back with me. We're going to pause a little bit here. I'm just going to carry this with, we're not level. I'm going to take my little break, my tea, and my berry snack. I like to bring last year's frozen berries out and eat them out here in the situation. I was just thinking as I went and got the seat that being out in a truly wild area like this is far and away. Oh, I'm losing my note to self. Put a spare hair clip in the picking unit. But being out here in a truly wild area like this is far and away a different experience. If I can tip it up, last year's frozen berries. Got some juice here. But it's melted freezer water and it's not condensate water. It's not too good. But being out here in a wild area like this is truly a different experience than the comfort of your own backyard. And you could have a little wild area in your own backyard, or the pretty much curated experience of a public park that's manicured and maintained. I'm the only one out here. Well, most of the time, as far as humans go, I'm by myself. So it's just me against this. And it can mess you if you don't keep your wits about you and stay out of the right kind of plants like poison ivy and not blunder into these thick blackberry patches. You can get messed up. Groundhogs like to dig holes. You don't want to step into one of those and push your foot the wrong way. So what I would recommend is start with a park. And then maybe go to a semi-maintained campsite. There are places that have furnished campsites that you can rent, and they'll have paths and things cleared. There are areas I know up at Jamonville, up in the mountains in Ohio Powell, have cleared walking areas that you can experience. Start there. Go out on a nice day, take your water, take your pack. Even if you don't need them, just practice if you're actually going to go out here. Because you might watch me do this and think, oh, that's easy. It's not easy. I've been doing it all my life. It can be a very challenging area. And a lot of times I don't even hike with a phone. Some people, oh, I'll take your phone. There are places up in the mountains, there's no phone signal. And anything, your battery can die. You know, if a cell tower futzes off, you don't rely on that piece of plastic and metal and glass and electronics. It can fail. You come out into this, you've got to have stored in your material, in your consciousness, you've got to have a skill set. And I'm 10 minutes away from my backyard. There are hiking experiences this summer when berry picking is over. I'm going to take my Jeep up to my friend's property, I hope, if he's doing well. And I'm going to camp out a couple days and film that. And at that point, I'm going to be a couple miles away from a neighbor, people that he knows. Oh, maybe about a quarter of a mile away if they're home. Somebody's got a place up there nearby, but there are other places up there I could go that are 5-10 miles away. And at that point, it's you and nature. There's no easy way out. So if you're going to come out here, take baby steps. Take it kind of easy with it. Don't put together a 30-40 pound backpack. Maybe have a little bit of gear. Water is probably one of your best things to take, especially if you're going to be out in the heat for a while. A little mini first aid kit might be nice. You don't have to be extravagant. Pack of Band-Aids, some spare rope, a stick. Go and practice. If you want to do this, go and practice. Start Small steps. I'm gonna make a mess here eating these. You see this berry patch? I need some more. I'm running out. Yeah. But definitely go out. Definitely go out. But the first experience you go out into this, even if you've been walking on the curated trails and the maintained parks, it can flummox you. It can be extremely frustrating, especially if you get lost. And out here I can see some big trees, and I know, well, I've been here for years. But if I'm in a strange area, I can pick a easily identified tree as a marker, a landscape marker. If I can spot that tree, I know how to get back to that. And if I know how I got to that tree from whatever entry, I can get back there. That's one thing I noted years ago with the advent of these smartphones, about 2010, 2011. They equipped them at some point with GPS in the last 10 years, and people don't know how to follow directions anymore. They just get their phone out. And for somebody like me that lived decades following directions, it's not a big deal. I can go back. But some of you are growing up never having learned this skill. You go out into this, even a 20 or 30 acre one, it's easy to get lost and scared and frustrated. And like I said, small steps. You go into this, go a short way in where it's easy to find your way out. Don't go whole hog across 10 square miles of this. When I was in school, a lot of the guys go hunting with their dads. Hunting season, it's in like October-ish, November-ish. Because school starts, but you get like a day off to go do this. One kid went hunting with his dad and got lost. He showed up a couple days later. I'm wondering, was he really lost or was he just having fun out in the woods? He might have been really lost because they were up in the mountains. And there's legit wild, untracked miles of all of this. Berry picking signs. When your fingers are red with berry juice. And it'll look like that. My hands will be covered. Somebody didn't know what the situation was and they came across me, and they might be worried. But I've never met another human out here. It's me and the environment out here. I hope I have a lid because I'll be staining my bag with berry juice and I can't pick berry shit. I got some chopped dates left. So definitely go out. It's good to go out into this. It's good to be out here. I have a new friend under the handle of Hiker Nonsense. He's got a channel on Twitch you should check out. I think he's got some hiking videos he wants to put up. And he understands that it's good for your mind, it's good for your being, it's good for your soul, it's good for your health, it's good for your physical health. There's a certain part of us that tunes in when we're out here. We connect with this environment. And you might see it in me because I've been out here a lot. I just almost instinctively avoid hazards and walk certain paths and follow deer paths without even thinking. And I might not even think to narrate some of this. I just move with the environment. I flow with it because I've been doing it since I was a kid. And I see other people come out and it's just like they're stumbling into a madhouse almost. And it frustrates them. And they get angry and they don't want to come back. You got to take your time and be patient and get used to it. You got to get in touch with the part of you that's tuned into this, because if you lived in a city or if you even lived in the country but stayed in the human and common backyard environment, the comfortable environment, the cityfied environment, the civilized environment, you're probably not in tune with this. And it's going to be really challenging to come out here the first couple times. Maybe a couple of years of you just coming out 4 or 5 times in the summer. But you get one good camping experience or one good hiking experience and you'll be hooked. And part of you will start to tune in to this environment that we basically lived in for thousands of years before we started to civilize and citify. People had to deal with things like this. And back then it was no big deal. A couple hundred years ago, dealing with this was no big deal. Now a lot of people, they don't come out here to places like this. And there is, people say save the environment. There's trackless miles of this stuff. It's not all mapped, it's not all explored. It's wild. The environment's doing very well where I live. I think some of the go green, save the environment, you have to understand it's not so much a philosophical movement as a money movement. They want donation money. They might go into it with good intention, but that lucre, that filthy lucre gets them. And money corrupts people. Is the environment at risk from humanity? I don't really think so. I think we're more at risk at that. Coming up with something that we're not ready for. Like, I lived in Florida for 20 years, hurricane season. Hurricane season could be a trial. It could certainly be scary. Those things, those storms can just stomp you. They can flatten whole neighborhoods. So the environment kind of has a leg up on us a bit. We can poison parts of it, but I know it's good at clearing itself out. There's a tree that absorbs radiation out of the environment and just gets rid of it. Just cleans it right out. Our pollution radiation, and in long enough time scale, 10, 20,000 years, most of our leftovers are going to break down and be gone, even the plastics. Just take a while. It takes care of itself. It can take care of you too, if you're in tune with it. So if you want to go green, literally go green, but just baby steps. That's my philosophy lesson. I got to go clear out this gnarly stuff out of my berries now. I say my berries, but I share them with the animals. I'm just having the last couple of date here. I prefer to eat mostly natural stuff. There's a couple things I like. I like my bacon cheeseburger. Maybe one or two a month. But mostly I like natural stuff without a lot of extra guck in it. You come out here, you start experiencing it, you tune into it, you feel a lot better. It's not going to solve your problems. It's not going to set aside your challenges. It's not going to make you much of a different person. But you feel better. And you'll experience something that a lot of people aren't ever going to get close to in their life. You just don't do it anymore. The paid-for camping experience, that's like paying to stay in somebody's backyard. Coming out here, oh, I see what's moving the camera. It's connected to some sticks I'm stepping on. Coming out here, this is the experience. But if you see this and you're inspired, baby steps. Do the curated experience first. Go to the paid-for backyard once or twice. Take some short walks on some trails that are cleared for you. And then edge your way into this. Got some tea left for later. Got water. I'm going to go see what I can do in this berry patch. I think I'm actually going to take the mic off so it doesn't get clawed up into. I know how this stuff works. And this is going in the bag. If I have a bag, I like to keep everything in it. So if I have to grab it and run for some reason, bad storm or something, everything's in a bag. All right, work time. Break's over. My real challenge is actually, this is all pickable berries with new stuff growing up. And I gotta find a way up into the area up there. So I'm gonna put my seed here. The seed's coming back with it, although it's kind of dirty. do most of them. The work at home ones, oh, sure. Well, the only way to do that is to get a job in a hospital. And you got to find a hospital schooling. And they want people that have a couple of years of work at home experience. There's no way to do this. And a hospital wants somebody who's got a couple of years of work at home experience. It's like, how do you win this? How do you win this? It probably wasn't the right thing. Because you're just entering medical records and you don't want to make a mistake. My mom's got some insurance through Medicare. They got the wrong birthday. Her birthday is 2/5 and they put in 2/2. They duplicated the 2. Well, the insurance companies can't fix it. It comes off the Medicare. And they have getting the government bureaucracy to do something kind of like pulling somebody's teeth and they don't want the teeth pulled. Trying to move a town through thing that's like, how do we even get in this? You got to go through the red tape. And, well, I finally talked to somebody who told me, no, it's just T2. Somebody just had to look at it. And it's like, Mom, just tell the pharmacy T2. We don't need to change it. We just need to know what number they're putting in. And they put in the right number and where, and that's what we do. We just gave the pharmacy the bogus number. And it worked for the insurance. Because otherwise they're putting money into the price. It's outrageous. When I was in college, I went to a family doctor who got a country doctor. I don't know if you find him in the area. I had a hearing problem. He cleaned my ears out. $20. Doctor's visit. That blows somebody's mind now. If you have insurance, it might be. If you have the right insurance, you might get a $20 doctor, $25 copay. If you don't have insurance, it's a couple hundred minutes, 150, 105 for a start. And then all you have in your problem, here, go see the specialist and he'll check you in. The specialist will be like, okay, this is what you need to give you a prescription. And then finally you'll find, oh, you need your ears washed out. Here, let me get this little squirt gun thing. There you go. And I have this feeling that for common problems like this, now there are things you need a specialist. But for common problems like this, that country doctor has got better competency in dealing with people's problems out in the country where they couldn't necessarily go to the hospital. I especially have my first not touch berries. Because if I touch berries, it's gonna die. And I'm not gonna be able to pick berries. They're green, they're not pickable. If they're pickable and I cut it, I can pick the ones that are picked and I might just pick some more. I couldn't get it all out. What I did was diced the top off, I shaved the top off, cleaned the top, and I went down and let it get in and cut the roots. It'll start growing back up in the roots because last year I cut the roots. I cut down on the bottom. It'll start growing from that again. And I bunged up some new berries because there's no way to get past them without bugging into them. But basically, I want to be able to reach into the berries and not have to reach past this stuff that's got thorns in it to tear your skin. Because it's right there with my berries. And I have to be careful when I'm cutting not to get into it. Chopping off a berry pot, no problem. Chopping off an entire berry plant, that's kind of me and here, some pretty animals, but they'll eat some. I can't, and besides, not only leave some for the animals, there's no way. There's no way. There's more here than I can do. And that's one of the couple things that I know that there's more, as long as I'm not stomping down the path. But I got into what I could actually get, cut out enough so that I could basically cut out enough and let some of the stuff on the inside fall down. Because I won't even be able to get it out. I might not ever get back in here for a few years because the whole thing the patch will die out for me. Maybe not. Out in this open area here, it grows very well. So I went down inside where I could. Cut all. Because rosebush only comes up from a couple of stalks. It's got one root down in this ground. If I cut those, I'll be able to put most of this out. I just gotta find those and cut them. Sometimes I can see one and say, can I push through very big without damaging the new stuff and the old? The new stuff stuff out of the way. Stuff I cut last year. So I don't know what the deal is, but my filming system gave up. I'm not sure why. Let me steady this. What I said about bring a hair clip, my hair clip broke while I was up on the other side. What I basically did was cut the roots of the rose bush. There's no way to get it out of the patch, and I trimmed the top so I can go in and pick berries without getting seriously bit. I got bit a little bit. I'll have thorn marks all over my arms by the time the season's over. The raspberry patch leaves really fine, like haze. It almost looks like a tribal marcation. The rose bush and the blackberry really cut deep. One thing I wanted to add to the philosophy, when you first start going out here into the truly wild, take somebody with you until you're fairly competent to get yourself out of any sticky situation, like splinting up your own bunged up leg or arm and hauling your butt out from a state of possible injury. Try not to do that, but that can happen, and getting somebody out to rescue you can be uber challenging, even with one of these phones. You still you're out there somewhere, and they may not be able to track your signal. So don't go alone. It's dangerous to do that. The curated parks, yeah, go walk around, no problem. Oh, I got a warning. I don't know